Hello everyone, I'm George. Today, let's talk about how to be super polite. Okay, a lot of times when you're traveling around the world, English is probably the first language that you would use to communicate with people. But sometimes when you go to a person, try to ask a question, the only way you can express how polite you are is, "Excuse me." Is that enough? No, probably not all the time. So today, we're just gonna teach you how to be super polite when you really need the politeness. The phrases that I'm gonna talk about today are not necessary. You can mix and match, use this one and that one, put them together, it'll show how polite you are. This is also useful when you are asking a question that you are too embarrassed to ask. Let's begin. Number 1, if it's not too much trouble. If it's not too much trouble. You can put whatever request you have after it. Let's just take asking for direction, for example. You go to a person, you say, "Excuse me, if it is not too much trouble, can you tell me where the train station is?" Excuse me, if it is not too much trouble, can you tell me where the train station is? You put "excuse me" and "if it's not too much trouble" together, you sound more polite. And number 2, do you mind? Do you mind? You can also put your question right after "do you mind," but you have to put a noun after it. For example, you can say, "Excuse me, do you mind telling me where the train station is?" Excuse me, do you mind telling me where the train station is? This way, the question sounds more indirect and you sound more polite. Let's move on. Number 3, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm sorry to bother you. To bother means to interrupt whatever other people are doing. So in this way, you apologize first and then you continue asking your question. Let's put it together with "excuse me" here. Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you. Can you tell me where the train station is? Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you. Can you tell me where the train station is? And number 4, I'm wondering if it is possible. I'm wondering if it is possible. You say "I'm wondering" because you just want to tell people that you are thinking about it, but actually you are already asking the question. It sounds more indirect, but you still ask the question in a more polite way. Let's put them together. Excuse me, I'm wondering if it is possible that you tell me where the train station is. Excuse me, I'm wondering if it is possible that you tell me where the train station is. So you just put the question in the indirect form after "I'm wondering if it is possible." It sounds more polite and people might want to answer you more. And number 5, would you please be kind enough to? Would you please be kind enough to? You put the question after this phrase and it sounds more polite. Let's put them together. Excuse me, would you please be kind enough to tell me where the train station is? Excuse me, would you please be kind enough to tell me where the train station is? See that? And there's the ultimate way to ask a super polite question. That is to put them all together. But be careful, if you do this too much, people might want to slap you in the face. Let's try this. Excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm wondering if it is possible, if it is not too much trouble. Do you mind? Would you please be kind enough?
Spit it out.
See that? Don't put these all together. It sounds too polite. People are not patient enough to listen to all what you want to say. Just spit it out. Use 1 or 2 of them. You might sound more polite. And that's good enough. I'll see you next time. Bye.